Well, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are here this evening, kind of different. I'm in Pastor Mark's office this evening. It has been what you would call long day. But anyway, hey, I'm thankful that I have a place to go. I'm thankful that I have folks that I can work with that I sometimes enjoy being around. Sometimes, they just, what's the old saying? They just get on your last nerve. But Deb knows who I'm talking about. Anyway, listen, just glad you're here. Let me tell you a couple of things that's been going on in and around you. We got this letter, and it was up at the cross, found it at the cross. Someone had piled some rocks on it so we would find it up there near where we placed all the rocks. If you've not been up there, there's still painted rocks on all up there. And anyway, this letter was up there. And the letter goes like this. Before I start reading the letter, I've got posted up there. We'll be in Isaiah chapter 58, verses 1 through 12. If you're here, let us know you're here. And let me read this note to you that someone left to us. Hello, gave her name. I'm a single mother with a little girl who is about 6. I wanted to thank you guys and let you all know how much you helped me. Helped me a lot. Now, I don't know if we were allowed to keep the rocks, but I did take one, and if I'm not, then I will gladly return it and place a telephone number that she could be reached at. Said anyway, my story's like that. I lost my faith about 6 months ago when my dad got sick with cancer. I quit praying to God. I stopped reading the Word, worshiping, and almost stopped believing. I somehow couldn't turn away from being pulled up to this cross tonight. God wants me to know that I'm going to be okay. I know now somehow I'll be able to get me and my daughter our own place, and instead of staying where we are currently, staying in this place in my living room, in my dad's old living room. I've been struggling to make bills meet and those kind of things on top of everything else. And today was one of those days when I needed to have $20 turned into my kids' school for school pictures. And I didn't have it. However, when I got to my car, I started looking for something else. And when I was looking for that item, I found $20. Enough to pay for the pictures. Jesus gave me that. So now those are paid for and I'm all taken care of. And now I'm here and I can feel every bit of Him even though it is freezing in this spot today. This stone that I picked up just shows me a lot. Thank you so much for providing that and being here at a time of need. My goodness, see, we've had all kinds of different people to put stones up there and paint them and different things. And she goes on in this letter. I didn't read you every single thing that's in the letter, but I read most of it. So you'd understand that sometimes you may think is insignificant, God is doing a mighty work. A simple thing as a rock with some painting and some words on it, maybe even a Bible verse on there, a reference to that. It is all that God needs. How cool is that? I mean, that's just amazing to me. So we're grateful for what all you are doing. Then to tell you that this afternoon, I was up at the church for the Operation Christmas Child drop-off boxes. And we're that location. And so today we were there from 1 to 5. I was blessed. I mean to tell you, blessed in a humongous way because I had some high school kids here. Jordan Alexander had some other kids here from Loudon Beta Club, I believe it was. If not, Jordan, you can let me know and correct me later. But anyway, then Brady Perky was in that group as well. So there's about 6 of those kids that were here. And I mean to tell you, they were workers, like little ants, and were busy all the time doing stuff. No matter what we had, they just got her done. I mean to tell you. We took in about 455 boxes this afternoon and got them all put in the cartons. Cartons loaded on the trailer, ready to be shipped out tomorrow. And still have like 16, I think 16 more cartons inside the church that we'll have to take to Maryville, drop off that load, and come back and get another load. So it was a good week. Pray for Miss Jennifer Pinkston. She's sick, got sick last night, and it's just the flu. It's not the COVID stuff. She's just got the flu, got all that crud, and I was afraid to be around anybody today, so she stayed home. Missed the big day, actually, of the drop-off when we had all the boxes delivered today. So it was a good day. Got done with that at 5 o'clock, and I thought, I'm going to whine a little bit. I'm too tired to go home, believe it or not. I was too tired to go home. I'm just going to go down in Preacher Mark's office and do the video tonight. It'll give me a little bit of time to sit down and rest and recuperate and get ready for the word tonight. So I went down to Preacher Mark's office and was setting everything up and getting everything turned on. And the phone rang. Now, Miss Deb's going to be on vacation next week, so she evidently cut the phones off, going to her. They usually go to her cell phone, and so the phone rang, and I answered it. And this is actually what the conversation went like. Hey, my name is so and so. My daughter is and her family are in a gray van, and they just broke down in front of your church. And I'm wondering if there's anybody there that could help her. And I said, you mean like on the interstate? And no, like right in front of your church, in the parking lot of your church. And I said, you're kidding? I said, no, I mean, yes, there's somebody here. I'll go out and check and see what I can do. Went out there. This family of, let's see, I think there was three or four kids. And mom and dad were traveling from Lynchburg, Virginia, and headed to Dalton, Georgia, so just an hour and a half from their location, to the wife's mother's home, going there for Thanksgiving for a couple of days. And they were missionaries here from Turkey. Missionaries on furlough from Turkey, and were living in Lynchburg, Virginia with his family, and drove down from Lynchburg, Virginia, and was trying to get to Dalton, Georgia, and they broke down on the interstate, got off the interstate, and he said, I was down here, and it looked like a truck stop. He said, I'm not sure what that is down there at the end of the road, but he said, I thought with my family here, I needed to be in a better location. He said, so I was thinking, what can I do? Lord, you got to straighten this mess out for me. He said, I looked up and saw the top of y'all's cross. Saw the top of the cross. He said, so I got on the phone, told my dad, I'm headed up here to the cross. There's bound to be a church up here. And so they were in the parking lot. We were trying to help them out. I called Preacher Mark and I said, Preacher Mark, here's the deal. Got a family that's broke down, needs some help. Here's your choice. You can either go online and do the Bible study, or you can come up here and help. Which one do you want to do? And so he came up here, and so he is out there. He was taking care of them when I came in. We're going to get their vehicle towed. I know where to take that to. We're going to get somebody to tow that and get that taken care of. And then we're going to, the church is through Everett. We're going to rent them a vehicle so they can get down to where they need to be and get back up here. So I'm telling you, you all have helped folks from all over the place in this last week. You got somebody locally that saw the cross, came up there and picked up a rock, of all things, and was led back to the Lord, in the right relationship with the Lord through that. You got shoe boxes that are going all over the world, and you had hands on all of those today. You've got those all prayed for today, and got tons of cartons of those things. I don't know how many total we have. Miss Jennifer will figure that out for us and let us know. And we just got a bunch of those. As a matter of fact, I was telling the lady who came by from Operation Christmas Child today that that we did the little coffee cups, change, put change in the coffee cup. You remember when we did that? Well, listen, I want you to know, I don't know if y'all heard how much money that y'all gave through that stuff, but I mean, it was almost like $900. So if Jennifer, if you or Deb are watching, can correct that amount for me, I think it was almost like $900 that you all gave. You gave enough to cover all of the boxes that we did, all the shipping for all of those, so we can send those on scot-free without having to worry about any of that, making up and making sure that Samaritan's Purse didn't have to make up the money for that during their rough time. You all are just awesome. And those boxes are going all over the world. And then you have a family that is actually ministering in Turkey, living currently in Lynchburg, Virginia, trying to get to Georgia. I'm telling you, can y'all believe how all that comes together? Well, the title of the lesson tonight is God Expects, from Isaiah chapter 58. And God expects us to do all this. You see, we're sometimes shocked and surprised at all that has happened and all the ministry things that we get involved in, and yet God expects it. God expects it. The passage of Scripture here in Isaiah chapter 58 is Isaiah. God is telling Isaiah, listen, what I want you to do is give these folks a reality check. A reality check on their relationship with me, with the Lord. Sometimes we just need a reality check of what's going on. And that's what transpires here in Isaiah chapter 58. Now, listen, I'm going to read out of the Holman Christian Standard Bible version tonight. Isaiah chapter 58, verse number 1 says this: cry out loudly, don't hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet. Tell my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Now, I believe we can gather right away in verse number 1 that God is saying to his people, look here, don't you hold back, man. I mean, let her fly. Let these folks know. Like a trumpet, I want you to sound the alarm and let them know what is transpiring, what they've done. Look at what verse number 2, let's see what they do. They seek me day after day and delight to know my ways, like a nation that does what is right and does not abandon the justice of their God. Well, verse number 2 sounds pretty good. They ask me for righteous judgments. They delight in the nearness of God. Now, I got to tell you, if somebody was saying all that to me, I'd be saying, woohoo, yeah, baby, come on, tell me some more, tell me some more. I want to hear more about that. Tell me what all that good I've been doing. And then verse number 3 comes. Verse number 3 goes like this: why have we fasted? But you have not seen. We have denied ourselves, but you haven't noticed. Look, you do as you please on the day of your fast and oppress all your workers. Ugh. Verse 4. You fast with contention and strife. You strike viciously with your fist. You cannot fast as you do today, hoping to make your voice heard on high. Will the fast I choose be like this? A day for a person to deny himself, to bow his head like a reed, and to spread out sackcloth and ashes. Will you call this a fast and a day acceptable to the Lord? What God is saying is here. Look here, y'all have done some good things, but I want to tell you, verse 1, this is how I need you to hear it. Verse number 2 is you've done some good things, but here's what you've really done. Verse 3, why? We have not denied ourselves, but you notice, you do as you please on the day of your fast. What you're doing, what they were doing in their day of fast is they were fasting so that others would notice, so that maybe God would notice, and God would be pleased, and God would give them what they wanted. Now, listen to me. If that's why you fast, if that's why you seek God, if that's why you're praying to God, let me tell you something. God's not listening to that. Our desire in fasting is to grow closer to the Lord. I don't like it when, I just tell you, I don't like it when Preacher Mark says, well, we're gonna fast and pray. I think that's what we ought to do. Now, he doesn't tell me I have to do it. He makes that suggestion. And when he makes that suggestion, he's my pastor, so I'm going to follow him. And I don't like it because every time it does, it brings more heartache on me. It brings more work to me. Because I had to work harder for my relationship to get in right like it ought to be with the Lord. And I had to work harder to do more for him because he expects more. It's not easy, but God says, this is what I want you to do. I not only want you to be understanding that I'm rejecting what you're currently doing, but I want you to be understanding of what you need to be doing. Look at verse 3 through 5. Why have you fasted? Why you done as you pleased. Verse number 4. Your fast is contingent with strife. You cannot fast as you do today, hoping to make your voice heard on high. Verse 5. A day for a person to deny himself to bow his head like a reed and to spread out sackcloth and will you call this a fast? Or is it just a public showing? Hello? Is it just a show to let those around me to know how good I am and what good I have done? Or is it a reality check into our relationship with the Lord and where we are with him? One of the questions in the book says, have you ever tried to bargain with God by offering to do something in exchange for him rescuing you from a difficult situation? You ever heard this? God, if you will just heal my child, I'll do this for you. Do you understand what you're saying? Do you understand the impact of that statement? God, if you'll do this, I'll do this. Does that put a condition upon your love and response and worship and your relationship to the Lord? Because it does. That's what you're saying is, Lord, if you'll do this, I'll do this. But if you don't, I'm not. You say, that's not what I said. Yeah, that's exactly what you say there. That's exactly what the children of Israel were doing during this time. They would fast, but the fast would be just let me do my way and let everybody see it, and then let's don't worry about it. Look at verse 6. Verse 6 and 7 says, isn't the fast I choose? To break the chains of wickedness, to untie the ropes of the yoke, to set the oppressed free, and to tear off every yoke. Is it not to share your bread with the hungry? To bring the poor and the homeless into your house? To clothe the naked when you see him, and to not ignore your own flesh and blood? He says you got to take care of these folks. You ought to be doing this. You need to break the chains of wickedness, the ones that are binding you to your public display, and take care of those that are in need. You know, we've said that our deacons do a lot of things that y'all don't know about. Do a lot of stuff. And one of the things that they always do every year at this time of Thanksgiving, they always do Thanksgiving baskets for families in need. And so this year, no different. Snuck up on us, actually. And Johnny Walker called and said, hey, are we doing Thanksgiving baskets? And I said, well, I was told that Good Samaritan is not, but if we need to do something, we will do them. You just let me know. Well, he got sick. I called Good Samaritan, talked to the lady, and she said they weren't doing it. And the next morning, she called me back and said, I apologize. I need to apologize. She said, I missed it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I told you we weren't doing them, but we are doing Thanksgiving baskets if you all need any. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, we do. Let me get right back to you. And so got a hold of Johnny. He had some names for us. We made up some names. I believe we ended up with 6 families, I believe is what we served, and got those ordered from Good Samaritan, and when Good Samaritan fixes the Thanksgiving, everything for a Thanksgiving meal, give a voucher, Food City for the turkey, and I mean it's a bunch of stuff from the rolls. This year they even provided toilet paper and soap, so they're taking care of all the necessities this year. So things are a little different this year. So anyway, we helped 6 families with that. And John, if you don't know, Johnny Walker's sick. He's really sick. And sounds awful. I talked to him again today, and I said, Johnny, just don't worry about it. I'll go pick him up, and I'll take him, and I'll deliver him. I'll get it all squared away. We'll get it handled. Don't you worry about it. Well, of course, he had to take 1 or 2. You know how he is. And so anyway, he did, and I took the rest of them and got them all done Saturday morning and got them to be. And do you realize there's some folks close to us that need some help? It says there in verse 6 and 7 that one of the things we need to do is share bread with the hungry, to bring the poor and homeless into your house, and to clothe those that are naked when you see them, and not ignore your own flesh. We've helped with food with folks. We've helped with gifts and different hygiene items, school items for kids all over the world through Operation Christmas Child. You see the box in the background back there. We done all that. We helped this one lady in need with a rock from our cross. And Preacher Mark's helping a family tonight that's from Turkey, of all places. And somehow they got to our cross. And God expects us to care for them. And that is the act of worship. Yes, we should do that kind of stuff, because that brings our relationship in line with Him. What He wants us to do and expects us to do. Look at verses 8 through 10. And let's see what happens next. Verses 8 through 10 says, Then your light will appear like the dawn, and your recovery will come quickly. Your righteousness will go before you, and the Lord's glory will be your rear guard. Now, right there in verse number 8, let me pause there and say, Then your light will come like the dawn, your recovery will come quickly, and your righteousness goes before you, and the Lord's glory will be your rear guard. Now, the rear guard is that part of the army that would stand at the back, the part that I'd want to be in. That would be at the back of the pack. But yet this particular part, the rear guard, would be protecting and guarding the army from forces that would circle around to come in behind you. Now, at that point, I don't want to be that part of the guard. But he's saying here that not only that, I want you to know that the Lord's glory is going to take care of that for you. The Lord's glory will be your rear guard. At that time, when you call, listen to this. Listen to this, verse number 9. Verse number 9, I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast. I need to slow down. At that time, when you call, the Lord will answer. When you cry out, He will say, Here I am. If you get rid of the yoke from those around you, the finger pointing and the malicious speaking, and if you offer yourselves to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted one, then your light will shine in the darkness, and your night will be like noonday. Now, you can take whatever you want to out of those verses right there. Verses 9 and 10, or actually 8 through 10. But I want you to realize that the Lord's glory, He's going to be the one that's protecting us from all angles. And when we cry out, He will answer. But He will say, Here am I. But look what He says. Here am I. If you get rid. You know that passage of Scripture that we all pretty much quote? If we'll humble ourselves and seek His face, He'll heal our land. Pray, pray, pray. We always say that, but we don't want to say that part about us humbling ourselves. That's what He's saying here. In verse 9, if you get rid of the yoke from those around you, stop the finger pointing, stop the talking that you shouldn't be doing. If you'll give yourself to the afflicted one, then your light will shine. Woo! And your night will be like the noonday. How cool is that? Glenn, that is right. The Lord's glory moves from your sides, from the bottom of the shelf to the top shelf. When we are obedient, when we do what he says, when we are doing as he expects us to do. Well, let me go on. And see what we're going to do next. Verses 11 and 12. The Lord will always lead you and satisfy you in a parched land. In a parched land. He'll strengthen your bones. You will be like a watered garden and like a spring whose waters never run dry. Some of you will rebuild the ancient ruins. You will restore the foundations laid long ago. You will be called the repairer of broken walls, the restorer of streets where people live. He's saying here in verse 11 and 12, first of all in verse 11, I will lead you. I will always lead you. I will satisfy you in a parched land, and I will strengthen your bones. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I needed my bones strengthened today. I got here, let me whine a little bit. I got here this morning about 8 o'clock this morning. Got to church. Some of the Fritz family is in quarantine, so I needed to go to the sound booth and work in the sound booth. So if the sound was bad this morning, it was because they didn't set it right before I got there. No, it's because I didn't push the right button somewhere. and I take the blame for that. I should have known what was going on. Should have known how to fix it. The video display, the slides and things, the verses, the songs, the words of the songs. Austin was controlling a lot of that from home on the remote link to that. So that was kind of cool how he does that. I've had to do that a couple of times on Wednesday nights when I was in quarantine. And so now Austin's doing that for us. So we're grateful for that. And so I was there, so I had to get here. I got here at 8 o'clock. Then after that, then I got word, or actually I had gotten word prior to that Miss Jennifer was not going to be able to be here today because she'd gotten sick. And I said the high schooler kids were coming, and so word got around they still wanted to come. And I said, look, don't worry about it. I'll be here at 1 o'clock. As soon as church is over, I'll fly out of here, run, go get me a hamburger, come back, and I'll be here at 1 o'clock. When I got back here at 1 o'clock, there was already people here, everywhere. And then it was about 5 minutes after that, a van pulled up, and they had 160 boxes to unload. And we went to work and didn't lighten up till about 4 o'clock. So then, we got done with that, finished up there at 5 o'clock, shut everything down, locked it all up, came down here, and somebody called needing help. I say all that to say this. When my bones need strengthening, verse number 11, God's going to strengthen them. When I feel parched, when I feel like I need a thirst, a quenching of my thirst, God says, I'll take care of that. He says in verse 11, you will be like a watered garden and like a spring whose waters never run dry. Now listen, you got to remember, children of Israel don't understand a watered garden like we do. They didn't have all the things that we have today to make sure that your garden gets watered. All that wasn't automatic. All those things weren't something that you could just turn on or turn off. It was a lot more complicated back then. And God says, I'll be like that water. I'll take care of that. You won't dry up. You won't run dry. You won't ever run out of energy. God says, I'm going to take care of that. Listen, verse number 12 says, some of you Now, he didn't say all of you. He didn't say all of you that listen on Sunday night. He didn't say all of you that listen on Sunday morning. He didn't say all of you that come to church. He didn't say those of you that come to small groups and Sunday school and Bible study. He didn't say that. He said some of you. Some of you will rebuild the ancient ruins. You will restore the foundations laid long ago. You will be called the repairer of the broken walls, the restorer of streets where people live. Some of you will be able to rebuild. Some of you will strengthen those places where you have desired to be and desired to grow your families and desired for things to last forever and ever. Some of you are going to take care of that. See, this passage of scripture in Isaiah 58 is what one commentator put it this way. It was more about, it's really like about our worship. What is our worship really like with the Lord? You know, he said, hey, don't worry about what other people think, what other people look around and see. You just worry about me and you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It goes further than just that. It goes further. God says, listen, I want your worship to be genuine, and I want you to understand it's about us. Meaning, you and him. Not me and you. You and him. That worship has got to be more than just a show to others. I like being in the sound booth. Sometimes I don't like being up there all the time. I like being up there sometimes because I get to see the people when we're worshiping with the music. You say, what does that mean? Well, because some people get into it and some people don't. Now, am I viewing you based upon how you... No. I just like to see the different types of ways that people worship. Some people raise their hands in different songs. Some people don't. It's the same with the preaching. Some people say amen. Some people say, oh yeah. Some just like to rock a little bit. You know who you are. But we all react to it differently. God is saying here, look, what I want you to do needs to be between me and you, and that's what ought to matter to you. Quit worrying about what everybody else thinks. Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. God expects our worship to be with him. When we were out in the parking lot a while ago, Mark and I was talking, they were trying to get a rental car handled and find one, a place where we can pick one up, and it was going to have to be to the airport. And so Mark said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, you know what I think? I said, I think we ought to unhook the van from the trailer and let them have the van. And just use it for the duration of time. They need 2 days down there and another day back up here. And we get their car towed. We know some folks. We can get that thing towed to the shop, and his dad can take care of that if it's fixable. You know, it may be the point that it's not fixable. I don't know. I'm not a car person. He said, well, would you be okay if we unhook the trailer, take the van, and get them the rental car, and we'll just take care of the rental car? I said, well, sure I am. So that's what he's doing. Now, unless something changed after I left. That was about 5:15, so it's been an hour, and you know, Preacher Mark, his mind changes about every 3 minutes. He looked at that family when they were trying to make the details out. And they said, well, he said, I understand it's Sunday evening. He said, I hate to bother you. And I said, no, it's okay. Mark said, no, really. He said, we don't have Sunday night services. He said, I'm bored. He said, actually, I'm bored. He said, the only thing I have to do is watch Pastor Gary. He's online doing the Bible study. Just make sure he don't mess up and say something that'll get us all in trouble. So he's not watching tonight, so I can say whatever I want to. That's how we are. We're going to do whatever it takes. Because that's the church that y'all are. You're going to do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter. Let's get it done. Let's get it fixed. When Jennifer went down sick today, I don't know what I'm going to do. Jennifer, we'll do whatever it takes. And we did. I got back after I ran and got me some lunch. All them people were already here. It was like 6 kids. I call them kids, high schoolers. They weren't just kids. So there was like 6 high school age young people here, and 2 sets of parents. And the 2 sets of parents went and got pizzas. They thought they were going to have lunch. I think it was. I'm not sure, or they just didn't eat. I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, they got lunch pizzas for them and soft drinks. So they ate, and after we got that first truck unloaded, another one came right after that. Another van came, and they had another 160 boxes. We got them unloaded, and then I told them they could eat lunch. So they ate lunch, and then we started boxing up all the boxes. And I'm telling you, they did a wonderful job. These young people, they did a wonderful job. Only 2 of them were from our church. The rest of them were acquaintances of these. And they got in there, man, and just went after it and did it. We had almost 9, 18. We had 27 crates, which is the big brown boxes already loaded on the trailer. And the lady came from Operation Christmas Child and made us unload those so that we could see the numbers on the box, so we could recount everything. So we had to balance out our numbers. And so them boys got in there and unloaded that trailer, and then had to reload it, and then finish loading it, get it full, and then box up everything. I mean, they worked hard today. They did. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not, killing you, but you think about putting shoe boxes in a brown box on the floor. You're humped over all day long doing it. And those kids got to do that. Those young people got to do that. I got to watch them do it. To think about the impact. And as the lady was saying from Operation Christmas Child, do y'all realize that the boxes that you're holding in your hand will go all over the world? We don't know where that box will go. We don't know what little kid will be holding that box. And it may be even next summer before they get it. But what an impact y'all are making. What an impact. God expects us to make an impact on our community. God expects us to make an impact where we are and what we are doing. God expects us not to do it for show, but for Him. So you know what I like to say? What are you doing? We had a lady join the church this morning in the 9 o'clock service that Preacher Mark and I both thought was a member here. I mean, without looking at the records, we just thought she'd been coming here forever. She said, I need to join. Woohoo, well, thank you. Preacher Mark was talking about somebody he ran into at the store, was talking about one of our members and what a great influence he was for the Lord in doing the work that he did in his home. Man, I'm telling you, that's awesome. When people see that, they don't just see you as an individual. They see you as a part of the body of believers made up of New Providence Baptist Church, that we send all that together up to the Lord. Well, our church had, I don't know, I don't remember what our actual final count was on our shoe boxes that we did. Jennifer may have told me, and I have probably forgotten. I'm going to look through here real quick and see. She texted me about 100 times this afternoon, as y'all can imagine. Well, let's see. Oh, here, the total amount given was $875. And at that time, we had 279 boxes. And Jennifer, 279 boxes, and I think there was another 8 boxes brought today for us, and promise of, I think there's 4 or 5 more coming tomorrow. What an impact. What are we doing individually? Now, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Don't you just ride on the coattail of this church. Don't you ride on the coattail of somebody else's doing the work for the Lord. You do it yourself. Make sure you do it yourself. The lady from Operation Christmas Child said, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle all these boxes tomorrow? And I said, well, I'll take a load to Maryville when we get done. We're going to be here at the church from 8 to 10. In case anybody else brings any more boxes last minute. I said, and then at 10 o'clock, we're going to shut down, lock the door. You're gonna point to her. You're gonna finish filling out all the paperwork. Jennifer's sick, and I'm gonna take off to Monte Vista Baptist Church in Maryville, unload that load in the trailer, come back here and load up another load, and take it to Maryville. So if you're not doing anything around say 11:30ish, I'll be back at the church ready to load up another 20 cartons of shoe boxes. So if you want to come to the church and wait up at the main building at the front door to help me load all them boxes, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I'll do it by myself. It's me and the Lord. Just kidding. We just get things done. But we got to get them done, listen to me, for the Lord. What is the Lord instructing you that you need to be doing? Are we meeting the needs of others? Are you meeting the needs of others? Not just your church, not just your church family, but are you? What are you doing? Hey, what are you going to do? Oh, preacher, listen, this is week of Thanksgiving. We don't have a lot of time. Why no? But you still got time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Instead of going out shopping on Black Friday, or staying at home on the computer, shopping that way, however you're going to do it. Check on the folks around you. Check on somebody you hadn't talked to in a while. Say, hey, just had you on my mind. Because God just laid them on your mind. He just laid them on your heart. Now act upon it. It's 6:45. You still got time. You can call them tonight. But check on them. God expects that. And God expects no less than that. Hey, what are you doing for Him? What will you do for Him? Look back and read over Isaiah 58. See if He's telling you anything individually that you need to be doing and doing it differently. And will you? Start today. Start tonight. The year of 2020. Thanksgiving 2020. God expects it. Now listen. Let's just go out and do it. Father, we come to you, ask you to cleanse and forgive us. Thank you for all that you do. Lord, it is that time of year when we tend to reminisce more about being thankful. And Lord, I'm grateful that we do it. That time of year, I pray we do it extra special this year. Thankful that we live in the country that we do. Thankful that we have the medical care that we do. Thankful that we have folks around us within our country that are willing to help watch out for us. I know everyone doesn't think that way, and I know that some people think, well, then they're still thankful. Thankful that a lot of folks ought to be thankful they still have some income coming in. They ought to be thankful that there are items in the store. And Lord, when there's not, and we hear about it, Lord, we need to take care of that need with individuals. I pray that we would always be doing what you want us to do, not what we think others want us to do. Help us to be mindful of your thoughts instead of others. In Jesus' name we ask it. Amen. God bless you. Hope you have a good week, good Thanksgiving. Don't forget this Wednesday, we will not be online Bible study. So we're giving you the week off. Hopefully you'll share with some family and friends. Have a great week, and we will see you next Sunday. All right? God bless you. Have a great week.